I'll get you your notebook. Your notebook. Look, come here. I'm gonna show you where you put your notebook.
I thought you said we were watching videos.
But he likes to. Your notebook's gonna be in the green bucket. Pencil. Here. You want some color pencils? Yes, sir. 7. How many people are mean right now? Come over here. I'm gonna sit over there. You need to come to your spot.
I know I am. I'm talking to Keisha.
Close the door.
Let's go now.
Huh? You don't have a jacket on?
It's not cold. No. Feels good.
Finish it.
Okay. So he's sitting in it. And you have two separate.
What's up?
Pad and tape. You have a pad. How you cover it? I put my tape. How you cut?
I wasn't hoping that they were gonna have some she got one of them today. I guess 4.
Okay.
She said she wants to try us with 4.
Hey Aaron,
No.
guess what Reno commented on one of my
Yeah,
videos?
You have no not to cut it, that's perfect.
Or my school videos. He started saying, what's the point of this? But it's
So
very
easy.
entertaining.
I didn't see it on YouTube, but I just kind of.
Got my chair, boy.
Oh, it's your first.
But he always sits.
Yeah, that's his seat.
Yeah, my sofa's right there.
Just
Don't
get.
move your stuff, because that's his seat. You know that's where he sits.
Hey,
Did you get dropped off this morning? You weren't on the bus?
I was super late.
I did a lot.
I don't know why, but I overslept.
It took so long to upload.
You don't have your alarm set?
So
Yeah.
long.
I woke up, my eyes were open still.
You woke up and your eyes were open still.
You know, like, I woke up, like, wait. I woke up, I'm like, what am I starting to see for? My eyes were hurting like that.
I was up. I fell asleep, but that's
I slept
the
like
water was overflowing.
I couldn't go to sleep.
Well, to be honest, I couldn't either because
Huh? He's still peeping on just letting you.
How are you?
Sister.
no, I'm 1 year old. I'm not 1 year.
That's actually kind
Oh, today is
Yeah, I know. I told her that. She didn't come.
today is Clifton's baby's birthday. He's 1.
I already watched
fun. It's funny, but
Alright, what, yesterday y'all started to write about forest fires and stuff, y'all not done writing yet, but we're gonna look at some stuff first. These are the fires that are happening in Australia.
Oh, don't look at sunset.
It's from the fire, that's how it goes.
It was actually pretty cool, but I'm kind of sad though.
Alright, so, at least 24 people have died so far since the fires started.
dang.
The fires actually started since September.
Is this
It
the
says
last
here,
year?
last year, 2019.
It's still going?
Yes. More than 6.3 million acres of bush, forests, and parks have been burned. So here's this map. I don't know if I can get it bigger. But I'm gonna press right here. And it starts with November 1st. And it's gonna go all the way to here to show how the fire started. So you'll get all the red dots. You see?
Dang.
Decreases.
Good thing we're not in Australia. Australia.
Australia.
Right around
Australia.
Oh. Hey, your
There's
girlfriend is
Melbourne. It's
good.
pretty close to Melbourne.
No,
There's
there.
Sydney,
Alright.
also right around.
No, she's in the UK.
She told me that she
Maps like this
No,
make it
it's
look like
not.
it's not as much as what that other map is.
No.
Probably lied to you.
Oh boy.
Here's a picture.
No, I was FaceTiming her and I saw her.
But how did the fire?
Well, actually, she
It was
might be from
probably the
Australia.
heat. I haven't read.
How did heat
Australia
make
is a
fire?
city.
Lightning, maybe it was man-made, but it's too many places to be man-made, every single one. These are people that are just waiting it out in the ocean, like they go to those towns with the beaches. Well, every town has beaches because it's an island, they go, continent, island,
Right. I mean, but no, there's some inland
inland.
cities.
Like, I know that they said there was a lot of people by the beaches that got on boats. And
And
that's-
this one is by the
Yeah.
ocean. If I go to Scotland.
Look at that.
Wait, is that snow on the ground?
My
That's a truck
My
that,
parents
or
are
a
going
car that
to
got melted.
Ireland.
What?
My parents are going to
Wait.
Ireland for the
Oh my. Can we like watch a video?
Yeah, we're gonna watch a video and just.
Okay. I never seen a melted car before on fire.
Oh,
These bush fires can create their own weather, so you have smoke that rises, cools, and clouds
My
form.
parents are going to
Thunderstorms
like me to
develop.
Ireland. I want to go to Ireland.
It starts to rain, but then you have lightning that causes another fire over here, so you might have a fire that starts here. All this happens up in the atmosphere, causes rain, lightning, there you go, another fire.
I forgot where there was 45 a cop was driving to it to get out.
So he's a leprechaun?
Yeah, leprechaun. He believes in the leprechaun.
And they're in
I
a
know.
drought,
My dad does.
so they're really dry.
They're not.
No, we don't know.
Alright, let's find.
You made fun of.
Yeah.
Why not go on YouTube for it?
I know. Wanna do different ones.
Our retirement plan with Boyana gives us confidence.
When you spend it now, knowing we're prepared for the future. Surprise! We renovated the guest room so you can live in them.
I'm good at my condo. Well, has been well protected. Boyana, be confident to and through retirement.
Tonight, strong winds and unstoppable flames. Fires on Kangaroo Island so powerful, they stir up fire twisters of their own. And close to Nowra, a bushfire jumped over the river, igniting a new blaze that triggered a warning to seek shelter or get out.
With sprinklers set up on the roof.
Donna and Jamie Duba are staying put, at least for now.
We've covered all bases and we've got backup plans and safe zones.
And if need be, if you have to leave, you leave.
We get in the car and go.
Yeah.
Bushfires have burned more than 12 million acres here, an area 40 times the size of Los Angeles, spewing a smoky haze that's visible from space. Army reservists helping with evacuations and supplies.
There's a very clear connection between global warming and wildfires and drought.
An estimated 500 million animals have died. The lucky ones rescued and cared for at sanctuaries across the state.
Kangaroos.
They're amazing. Oh, that's
Where
not
orphaned
Florida.
wallabies, wombats, and other wildlife can recover, but will struggle in habitats that are wiped out.
Yes, correlation is a huge concern.
Oh, that's-
Yes, it is. And the other thing is when they come out, there's no food around for them. No water, no food.
On social media, celebrities are posting messages of support and pledging donations to local fire services with a long, hot summer ahead.
There are nearly 200 fires burning now. The air is filled with smoke and ash. The forecast, though, is calling for cooler temperatures and the possibility of some much-needed rain.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and
What?
This one down there.
Oh no.
You did it,
Oh.
Monday.
I knew it. You could have started it.
Now we're going to head to Australia, where rain and cooler temperatures are bringing some relief this morning for communities devastated by deadly bushfires across the country. But officials warn that the flames will, quote, take off again by Thursday. At least 25 people have died as a result of the fires since September, along with an estimated 500 million animals. Nearly 20 million acres have burned, and authorities say that the fires could keep burning for months. CBS News correspondent Jamie Lucas is in Australia, in the capital there of Canberra. Jamie, what's it like there?
See, there's several capitals.
Well, I can tell you, Anne-Marie, that the good news is that conditions also got better here for much of the day and will be tomorrow. We were talking to some of the people at our hotel, and they said that yesterday they couldn't even see their hand in front of their face when the sun came up. Today, obviously, you could see conditions a little bit better. But when those conditions were at their worst earlier today, Canberra was considered the worst major U.S. city and worst major world city, I should say, in terms of air quality. So that's luckily conditions have improved, but much of the country is still getting smoke. Here in Canberra as well, there are fires to the east and also fires to the west. That's why the air quality has been so bad here. We talked to some officials earlier today too who said that the government had to shut down, many businesses shut down, and that people inside their homes actually had their smoke detectors starting to go off. The air quality was that bad.
Wow.
we cannot guarantee your safety
Look at how it
at
looks.
present.
That's because of
Authorities
the
across
fire.
Southeast Australia are racing
Even though it's
to people
daytime.
to safety,
That's how
using
it
the
looks.
light rain and cool weather for cover after supercharged fires continue to ravage the continent over the weekend.
It's like something out of a horror movie. I've never seen anything like it.
The fires have scorched nearly 20 million acres of land, forcing
I was
thousands
about to say, why is standing right?
It's been
The light on the fire. Makes it look hazy and red.
Fire officials here in New South Wales say the flames roared through here so quickly that the fire consumed things like cars, homes, and vegetation at a rate of 7 miles in 2 hours.
Australian firefighters are working around the clock, battling both the fierce flames and exhaustion.
They missed one thing, it's always a small game right now.
Arrive
Yeah,
to
but it's
provide
kind of hard
welcome
because you
assistance.
start to put out.
Did you ever think you'd see something of this magnitude in Australia?
Evacuee Margaret Fitzpatrick came back to find both her neighbors' homes burned down, but hers still standing.
For people watching in the United States, what would you want them to know?
Just the spirit of everyone banding together and helping each other. Even though a lot of people have lost a lot of things, you still have that really good community spirit.
Wow, so we heard that, there's cooler temperatures, light rain, that's helping a little bit, but things are going to return very quickly to the conditions that have contributed to these fires. So what are residents doing to prepare? Well, I think it's an interesting point you just made, Anne-Marie, because some of our viewers may not know that here in Australia it is summertime, so that means that they are in part of fire season, but this is just the beginning, so that's why officials are very fearful that the fire season could go on for months. What we were told by people we talked to in some of these towns is that they've prepared their homes the best they can, and that things have been so scary that they just decided to leave, go to other countries, stay with family and friends in other places until some of this subsides. There have been many instances where fire was not supposed to jump, let's say, a river or a highway, and then did. So what I can tell you is that people are very much vigilant, they're alert right now, and they're scared that this could go on for quite some time.
And so how is the smoke from all of these fires affecting people and wildlife in the area?
Well, as you said, when you look at the numbers of wildlife that have died, and in terms of the habitat here, the smoke is one of the factors that can really contribute to problems. You know, we've been told that if you have asthma, if you have any underlying health condition, that you cannot even go outside. That's why so many people here in the capital were asked to please stay home, don't even try to go outside. And as I talked about before, you would hear some of the smoke detectors going off because the smoke is so strong. That has subsided here, and that's what people were very glad about. But there are so many other sections. I can tell you from driving from Sydney, Australia to here today, which is about 3.5 hours, there were pockets of very, very thick smoke. At one point in time, I actually put my mask on inside the car, even after turning off the vents and things to keep smoke out. But it just kind of depends on where you are, the conditions of where you are, and how quickly it's moving and changing.
Well, the images are, I mean, they're devastating, they're mind-blowing. We were watching some images earlier today where literally it looked like helicopters were just flying into a wall of red and orange. It's really remarkable what they're going through right now. Jamie, you can thank you so much.
Recognized it.
Oh, wait, what is that?
That's not like the fires, that's something else.
Green.
More heartbreaking images coming out of Australia this morning. They show the trail of destruction left by the country's catastrophic bushfires. Amid the rubble, some rain and even some relief for people in the hardest hit areas. Temperatures in some cases have plunged today from the high 40s to the low 20s. A brief respite that is allowing some evacuees the chance to return to their homes. For some, it is an absolutely devastating sight.
Everything's just gone. We've got nothing. Memories, maybe find a shovel or something in the shed or something, but that's about all I have.
The Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, this morning announced almost $2 billion in extra funds to help victims like the woman from whom we just heard there. The flames have now claimed another life in New South Wales, and nationally that leaves the number of dead at least 25. More Canadian help is on the way today to help tackle this disaster. 8 wildlife specialists heading to Australia, which has swollen the total number of Canadians there and helping to nearly 100. Canada's Foreign Affairs Minister, François-Philippe Champagne, saying in a statement that came out last night that Canada is willing to consider further assistance as necessary. Now, our David Common is now on the ground in southern New South Wales, and this morning he has the latest on the damage in one small coastal town caught up in the fire zone.
After the flames move through, this is what you're left with in so many parts of Australia. This was someone's house. You see, the pots and pans. This was presumably their kitchen. I think this is their dishwasher here. That appears to be their sink. Their oven is over there. The roof is here. And it gives you a sense of the intensity of the fire, the speed of it, the wind that comes with it, the power of it. Take a look here. This is the bedroom. This is someone's mattress. We've seen areas where metal has actually been melted, and you see trails of aluminum that is melted and then re-solidified, moving away from a fire. I should point out, when the fire came through here, it came over through here. People saw the smoke and the flames. They were home, many of them at the time, and tried to get out, went up that way. But there's a burning tree that had fallen over and blocked part of the road, and so they had to go that way in an attempt to escape. You know, there's all sorts of reports of people, of course, dying in these fires. 24 people have died. We also know that about 500 million animals, birds, reptiles, and mammals have been killed. Many of us have seen the pictures of koalas that have been burned, kangaroos that have been burned. And then you get a sense of the level of property destruction. This entire neighborhood, all of it, wiped out by a fire that was kilometers wide and so big that firefighters could never get here to put this out. By the time they arrived, it was gone, and so were these houses.
So Wind Mobile just sent me this solar wireless battery pack. I'm excited. Let's see what's inside. I really like the build.
Pictures and stories continue to file out from Australia about the devastating fires. This one, a satellite image from NASA, and as you can see, this smoke is just billowing out for the number of fires burning along, particularly the eastern side of the country. And I'm going to go over some comparisons from Australia wildfires and California wildfires. This is something that we've been talking about a lot recently with some of the catastrophic and biggest wildfires ever in state history. First of all, let's take a look at the three causes for Australia wildfires. Climate change, potentially arson, and then this one, land management. We've been talking a lot about that in California. Are we clearing enough or doing enough to prevent the rapid spread of wildfires, considering the warmer, drier climate that we've been heading into? Speaking of drier, take a look at the satellite image. Not much going on throughout the entire country. We've seen some hit-and-miss showers here. Not enough, certainly, to put out any of the wildfires burning throughout the country. So a lot of personnel flying out from the States and other countries just trying to help in the efforts to contain some of those fires. And when I put this on here, you can see all the areas that they're dealing with wildfires all along most of the coastline, some inland as well. But how far does it reach? Take a look at the north to south miles that we cover all the way from Melbourne to the northern part of the country. That's roughly 1,800 miles. That doesn't even compare to California. You have to head all the way into British Columbia, past Vancouver, to even get that far across the west coast. So we're talking all the way from San Diego to Vancouver is about 1,200 miles. Imagine even farther north into Canada with fires burning all along the coastline. So now let's start to take a look at some of the conditions that are similar to the west coast of the United States and Australia. What are they dealing with in terms of these fires spreading and starting? Same weather concerns, winds and heat, low humidity, and dry fuel. Low humidity is going to be a particular concern, especially in the next couple of days with no rain in sight. And if anything, it's going to be very, very light. Images like this from the campfire are being seen in Australia as well, where day turns to night. So much smoke, you can barely see where you're going. GPS systems really not working much with electricity going down. And when we take a look at the comparisons in terms of acres, you know, 2018 was the year that we had that campfire. It was so devastating throughout the entire state. We had roughly about 2 million acres burned throughout the state of California. Now we take a look at about plus or minus 12 million acres burning in Australia. By some estimates, it's over 14 million acres right now, and it doesn't look like there's any end in sight. Also keep in mind the difference in the season. In Australia, we're coming up on the peak season from January into February and even parts of March before the rain really starts to ramp up there, and they start to turn the tide to some cooler, wetter weather. Whereas in California, our peak season tends to be more September, October, November, until we start getting some of those more winter rains and cooler conditions. So we're really going to be flip-flopping things here as we head into the next couple of months.
The fires are pretty bad. It's still ongoing every day.
Whoa. Are we dreaming about 24
Now they have people
So I'm just something.
I was doing my hours.
I mean, that's how it looks. A lot of pictures that you see, that's not because they're putting a filter, that's how it looks. The kangaroo.
Where?
So a lot of them have died, and then the ones that are surviving, like I said, they don't have anywhere to eat. They don't have anywhere to. They're finding them at people's schools. They're crossing the roads. Right, this is the map, right? Oh, here goes.
We drive into an inferno.
This right here in red, that's the size of Australia. Here's the United States. Here's the United States. So it doesn't include that, like you said, Texas, a little bit of California, Washington, Oregon.
He is a little bit close.
Huh?
It was a little bit close to here.
Well, no, they just kind of put the map of Australia on top of the map of the United States so we can see how big Australia is and where all the fires were at. They're mostly along the coastline. But this video doesn't want to play.
Look at you, up at dawn, already making progress. Riding your bike to the pool to make more progress. Drinking silk, doing laps, getting fruity in the name of Wait, who's that? Why is he here? Stop butterflying. This isn't about you. Look, Michael, we love you. You're a hero, but so is Greg. Yeah, Greg. This is Greg's story. This is Greg's pool. Greg is doing it. Greg is making progress, and progress is perfection.
We drive into an inferno.
We're struggling to get north right now, hitting roadblock after roadblock, and these flames go all the way up and down this highway. It's not just here, it is for miles and miles.
A countryside consumed by flames.
The wind and heat and flames are really starting to pick up even here. Everything burning behind you, that smoke coming off, stinging you guys, the heat radiating off this flames is so intense right now.
For weeks, this has been the reality for the people of Australia.
Oh my god! I'm fucking with this is the middle of the day.
Holy. All of my possessions have been totally incinerated.
All around the country, homes destroyed by the hundreds. People evacuated by the thousands. Australia is prone to yearly outbreaks, but changing winds, a prolonged drought, and record heat have exacerbated the danger, creating a maelstrom engulfing the country in a ring of fire.
They are spreading through branches and even the edges of town at hugely quick rates,
destroying more than 18 million acres of land. At least 25 people have lost their lives.
This is just the beginning of their fire season, so we can anticipate even worse impacts in the next weeks.
To put this into context, in 2018's massive California fires, nearly 2 million acres of land were left to ash. The ones in the Amazon, even bigger. But since September, the fires here in Australia have already burned more than 3 times those events combined. For scale, if you superimpose Australia over the United States, the fire was spread from California to Pennsylvania. Now, more than 4,500 firefighters and support personnel are trying to bring this to an end, including 77 from America. 21 more arriving today. Firefighters like volunteer Steve Price from Boise, Idaho.
It's the biggest fire I've ever been on in my life, and I've been doing it 32 years now.
In the last week, authorities evacuating residents and tourists as fires intensified. But in the face of it, some deciding to stay. 19-year-old India McDonald surrounded by the inferno with only a garden hose to beat back the flames. She told Australia's News 9 that against near insurmountable odds, she and her firefighter father were able to save their house. On Friday, we met Paula and David Durant.
They decided to stay behind and fight the flames at their ranch.
We're just hoping that, we can save the house if nothing else.
We went to check on them after Saturday's fires tore through. The road to their house was charred, with some parts still burning. What was it like here?
Oh, horrific. Horrific. Yesterday was really terrible, really bad. I mean, the heat, no power. We've got limited phone reception, so sort of, basically can get a few, quick messages out to people. Oh wow, there's still smoking up there. Then all the way through here and all the way up there in the hills, and we're just putting it out, but it seems to have hopefully gone around a little bit more.
In the coastal town of Malakuta, 4,000 residents and tourists were forced to shelter on beaches. Others taking refuge in boats. Some prepared to jump into the water. The sky dark with smoke as fierce winds pushed flames towards them. Evacuation of so many is nearly impossible because of the clouds of dense smoke. The military having to use boats to deliver supplies while they wait.
When we were in there, in the thick of it, we thought that this could be it.
The flames so perilous that these firefighters in South Wales were forced to shelter inside their truck, leaving the big raging inferno.
It had got to a point where it was too dangerous to remain in the vehicle.
A warning to viewers, many of these images are disturbing. Nearly 500 million animals are estimated to have been killed. On Facebook, users are posting this haunting video of a sea of animals lying dead on the side of the road. As the fires ravage much of Australia's fragile ecosystem, the Australia Zoo, owned by the late Steve Irwin's family, posting on Instagram that they've taken in over 90,000 animal patients.
It's scary when you think of how many are lost, and there's still so much you can learn from them.
We have lost thousands. Thousands of koalas, thousands of so many other species. It's just criminal. This is the worst event this country's ever seen, without a doubt. Horrific.
Shane Flanagan is the director at the Koala Hospital in New South Wales.
See here, there's burns there, but they've all healed. But that was all red raw, and it's all great big nicely now.
Her hospital's a safe haven for koalas, taking in dozens of animals that have been burned or lost their habitat. Koalas like Paul.
He's a very shy little koala.
Paul went viral after being saved back in November in a nature reserve. It was named after the human who rescued him.
Hi, Paul.
See how he's lost here?
Yeah.
And all the fur's really all growing back.
Paul is one of the lucky ones. It's not just burns that are dangerous to koalas. Their environment is being destroyed. The fires and the hot, dry air also make them more susceptible to diseases that could render female koalas infertile.
This disease, with a lot of these burnt animals, is going to take out a lot more of burnt koalas that have survived the fires. It will kill them as well. Yeah, so it's, and with the drought, there's no moisture out there in the eucalypt leaves, there's no groundwater, so they're all dying of dehydration, burns, and disease.
Despite these dangers she says are created by a changing climate, Shane's determined to protect the species.
Up until when these fires happened, we never thought that would be a possibility. But we have another few seasons like this, over the next few summers. Heaven help the populations out there. And I say shame, Australia, shame. Not on our watch though, eh, Amanda?
Unfortunately, fires approaching this scale are not just an Australian problem.
Yeah, let's get the hell out of here.
Over the past few years, wildfires have become a global catastrophe, increasing in frequency, size, and severity from Greece to Portugal to the California coast, left barren by devastated fires.
We are spewing pollution and carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, and the science is pretty clear that that has impacted our climate in a way to cause extreme conditions.
Do you think it's a warning call for Americans?
Yes.
Yeah, how so?
We've got to change the way we live. We've got to stop being such big consumers and change it. The time is happening now. Mother Earth is getting cranky.
Cranky, yes, but for those staying behind, fighting for their home is their only hope.
We're not going to go anywhere because we've been lucky. That's all we can hope is that, it's not coming back. They just keep saying, be prepared, be prepared.
A brief break in the weather is offering a little relief, and some towns are opening back up, but those monster fires are still raging. And with more potentially catastrophic conditions expected later this week, the people here say they're living in constant fear.
These fires are going to last. They're 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 going to last. Th
For Nightline, I'm Maggie Ruley in New South Wales, Australia.
Should be new one. Should.
We're here in Africa, on the eastern Savannah grasslands. Hey, it's us, the Krat Brothers. I'm Martin, and I'm Chris, and we're here on the African savannah in the habitat of the wild elephant. With elephants. You know next to nothing about being wild elephants. They're all orphans. They never learned how to survive in the wild because their mothers were killed by poachers. This is nice. Would you like 10 months old? Baby elephants are taught survival skills from their mother and other herd members. But these orphan elephants, they don't have any family to teach them. So they're taught what they need to know here at the Sheltering Elephant Orphanage. And it's people who are teaching them survival skills and to unleash their elephant powers. So someday, they can return to the African savannah, living free and in the wilds. Hey, where's everybody going? Oh, they move fast! It's a stampede! Off to a mud bath! Wow, they just love this. They kick it up, they make it nice and frothy, and they love to roll with it. Whoa, they are in play mode. We don't want to get in the middle of that. We'll take our mud bath when they're done. After the mud bath comes the dust bath. It gets rid of bugs, it protects from the sun, it's a natural sunscreen, and you can tell these little elephants are feeling great right now. Even at this young age, elephants are so powerful. The trunk, the size, the strength. Imagine if we could compare the creature powers of different animals in head-to-head contests. What if? Creature Power Challenge. We should really remember to finish cross-country inlining before the sun rises. Yeah, look, all the smart creatures are heading to the shade.
Just consider it another thing you learned from the animals.
Yeah, and there is one good thing about getting overheated in Africa. It's a good reason to cool off in.
Yes, it was so cold in there.
Mud wallow! What are we waiting for? Let's put it